Gus is doing really good with the e-collar. Typically he's working anywhere from like 5 to 10. And I can use it, so right now he's on place. If he were to get up, nope, please. So I said no, which marked the incorrect behavior. Right when I said no, I added e-collar pressure, and then I repeated the command that I wanted, which was the place. Once he did it, I let off the pressure. Right now I'm working at level 5. Now on my recall command, I can press it right at the same time. Gus here, good boy. And I want him to come into a sit. Now on my walk command, I want him to go to my left side. So the command that I would use is with me. So I would go, that's with me. Kind of opened up my hips a little bit so he could get around. And now he's here. I want to make sure that my hand's really loose by my side. And when I start walking, I'm going to tell him with me. And I'm going to walk on. I want to make sure that my going to the with me, I want him to come right to my left side. So if I ask him with me and add just a little bit of pressure, I want to try to bring the pressure right to my hip. He should come and meet me right on my left side. And at any point that I want to, I can reward him for any of these behaviors. The more we reward, the more hope we're going to build for all these behaviors. So when I start walking, I want to make sure my leash is loose, but still in control. If I'm holding it like this and I'm walking around and he sees something, gets distracted and go, I'm not going to be able to be very reactive of what I need to do with him. So I want to keep the leash where it's just barely loose. I've got my hands really loose by my side. That's with me. And I want him to stay, his head should stay right at my leg. If I stop, I want him to come to a sit. I can, good boy, and I can reward that with me. Now, so far in this walk, I haven't used the e-collar at all, but I could use it if he started to go out of position or he started to forge. Now I'm gonna ask him to go into a down. So I'm gonna pause moving when I say it. I'm gonna tap the e-collar right when I say it. So I'm gonna stop moving, down, good boy, and I tapped it right there and reward him for that. Now I don't have a stay command, so down is an implied stay in that down until I tell you otherwise. So he's in it down right now. If I needed to remind him anything, I can remind him down. I'm going to test him a little bit. Down. Good. Now I want to build hope for those behaviors that I like. And the way that I build help is to reward more. So he held that even with the distraction. A good time to reward him. And I'm going to reward this dog for holding place. Gus with me. Good boy. Gus, please. Good. Alright, so now Gus is on a place, and same with this dog. So I may demonstrate with either one of these guys. So as I'm moving, good boy. Very good. Now, if one of them were to get up, first thing that I want to do is I want to mark the incorrect behavior. So I would say no, and then at that point, I could use the e-collar if I have my e-collar accessible. That's the thing too. If you don't have the e-collar in your hand, don't scramble, go pick up the e-collar to then deal with this. You've got to deal with whatever tools you have at hand to deal with them getting off. So other tools that I have is spatial pressure. So if one of them, nope. So I said no, and this dog I don't have his e-collar. I took one step in, now I'm gonna remind him Bowie place, and I'm gonna move into it. So my spatial pressure moving right into his body was able to push him back and get him back to place. Now he did that one really good, so I'm gonna go and reward him for that choice, because that was a good problem-solving choice that he made. He made the mistake, I marked it, he heard no and immediately went to a down, which is typical for that dog to offer. And I didn't go past him to guide him to the bed, I pushed him back to the bed. So if they were on like the wall and they were in my living room and they got off, I want to push into them and push them back. So let's see if they'll make that mistake again. Good dogs. Very good. And because I'm testing them and they're holding it, I'm going to go reward them. I want to build that hope. Maybe my goats will add some distraction. Come here, goats. Come here, goats. Nope. Nope. Place. So I tapped it. So right there, when he got off and I said no, because he was in like a high drive state, he was thinking about chasing the goat, I don't want to just tap the e-collar once. The whole time I was moving in, I was going tap, tap, tap. Now on my e-collar, I've got two buttons. I've got my normal button, which is the black button, and that's gonna send whatever the dial says. And then I have my red button. In situations like that, that would have been a really effective time to use my red button to just give them a little bit of correction. It would have boosted it by 5 to just make sure that it's clear. So we'll try that again. I'll call my goats over. Goats, what's your place? Goats, come here. Good. Come on. They're like, no. You're testing us too much. Come on, guys. Come on. Good. So now let's look at Bowie. Like, he's very arched, his tail was getting really stiff. So this could be a great point where I can use spatial pressure to get him to disengage off this. No, place. So I added a step, I got him to look away, I saw his body kind of loosen, and that's what I'm looking for. Come here. No, place. So I tapped that. Right when I said no, I went tap, 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 and I turned it up. Because for him, he needs a little bit more of a correction because he's definitely like, as he's getting, he peaks in excitement. Why not? Good boy, why not? Come on. My goats are pretty good troopers and stuff like this. Place. Because he keeps making the wrong mistake, I can remind him for that. And I was working at level 4 for Gus. Now I'm at level 9 just because of the distraction of the goats. So now I'm going to try to recall Gus and Chelsea. Just be on him just in case he breaks because this is a little bit tricky. Gus here. Good boy. Sits. Good boy. Now before I ask him to go to a with me, I'm going to pick up the line. I'm going to ask him to sit again because he broke that. Here. Sits. I want him to sit in front of me if I ask him to come to a recall. You saw just because I grabbed the line, he was anticipating going to the with me. So I just want to keep that more solid. Now I'm going to ask him to go into a with me. That's with me. And notice how I kind of use my leash to kind of guide him around. Good boy. I can reward that because that looks really nice. I'm also going to think about my e-collar. So because I was working the goats, that's down. Because I was working the goats, I was higher, so I'm at a level 10. For a normal state of Gus, when he's in a calm working level, I want to be lower, around like 5. So I'm going to turn down my e-collar to 5, and then I can use that in my with me if I need to. And he's a little bit escalated, so I'm going to use a little bit of pressure. I'm going to ask this dog to down, so he can stay there, place. And me moving in, see how he rocked his body? I'm asking him when I say place to get to a calmer state, not be so fixated on what's going on over there. I'm gonna pick up my line. Picking up my line shouldn't mean anything. He should stay in that down with me. If I stop, so here he's a little bit out of position. So right here, I'm gonna ask him to with me. I'm gonna use the leash a little bit and I'm gonna kind of move my hips to kind of help him get it back in position. Gus with me. Good boy. See how that worked really nice? Good boy. He's very much still needs the line for all of this stuff. This isn't something that I can just use my e-collar. It's still relatively new to him, but the walking I could try to use my e-collar. So we've worked this where I've had my leash really loose and, I've worked it where I've got my leash really in control. It's still loose, but I've got a really good handle on it. Now I'm gonna practice having a little bit looser and use my e-collar, and I'll tell you tap every time I'm tapping it. With me. Tap, 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 tap. I want to tap until he comes back into the right position. Good boy. Tap, tap. Good boy, buddy. When I'm practicing this, where I'm using my e-collar, I want to make sure that there you go, good boy. So right when I said sit, I applied that pressure. I waited until he went into a sit position. Now I'm gonna do it for the down, down. Good boy. When I'm practicing doing the with me in heel position or in the with me position, I want to make sure I'm not dealing with a lot of distractions. Right now I'm in a pretty sterile environment, so this is a good point to work my e-collar and get him to respond with that. But if I'm out on the street, if I'm taking him to a dinner or something, I'm going to use the e-collar a lot less, and I'm going to rely on my leash. The difference between these two pressures is the leash gives a lot of direction, the e-collar does not. So I want to, when I've got a lot of distractions, be able to give him some direction so he can be successful as much as he can. That's with me.